Hello everybody, this is Napa Fan here, and welcome once again to the Daytona International Speedway, the only event of the day here for Meliello Speedways, at least in terms of my stuff. There's probably a lot of other stuff going on today in the NOFSRL. Obviously we had the duels last night and everything, so things are ramping up to the Daytona 500 on Sunday, but tomorrow we have ourselves the Fresh from Florida 300 in the Turkey Hill National Series, and today we set the starting lineup for that event. We already had the first race of the season at Homestead. This is the second race of the season for these guys. Marty Johnson coming into this race, the points leader after that race victory at Homestead. I'm excited for this one for many reasons. Of course, this is the biggest race of the season for the Turkey Hill National Series, but not only that, I got a couple of guys who, and one in particular, I haven't done an offline race with in over a year. Nathan Stapleton, who I've done a lot with, and Andrew Miller back in the booth. Great to have you back, man. Of course, we've met a few times. I think we've met maybe 3 or 4 times since the last time we called an offline race together. It's been a little while, but you're going to be in the Daytona 500 on Sunday. So is Nathan. What are you guys looking for in this race tomorrow to take away in the Daytona 500 on Sunday?
Well, I think for me it's going to be seeing which line is going to be the most dominant, because I know that certain races at Daytona you're going to want to be on the bottom, sometimes the middle, and sometimes the top can also get it going, especially if it's a 3-wide situation. So I'll just see how these guys are able to figure out which line is going to be going forward the best, and I'll try to keep that in mind and see if I can get myself in that line.
And of course, with this package for the Turkey Hill National Series this year, is more like the Cup colors. So for me, I'm more curious of how these colors will run in the draft compared to the Cup colors, because I would imagine it would be very similar, and I'm just going to see of how much of a draft difference there is between Cup and the national colors here at Daytona.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting. The races will be different, no doubt about it. But like you said, a different body style this year for the Turkey Hill National Series. First time we're taking this body style to the Super Speedway, so it'll be interesting to see how it all goes down. We do have 2 guys who are attempting this race who will be in that Daytona 500. Mitchell Collins and Marty Johnson advancing on last night in the Meliello duel. So Marty Johnson's going for it all in that number 53, and this is the series he really needs to focus on, because this is where he's going for points. But we're just going to see how it all goes down for those guys. There is Marty Johnson in the 53 machine. Definitely intrigued to see what he does in tomorrow's race here at Daytona, and of course intrigued to see what he does on Sunday in the Daytona 500. And the other guy who's going to be in that Daytona 500 was fastest. That's Mitchell Collins in the 27, but now the 67 machine of Micah Knapp has gone to the top of the board. And I think we're going to see these times change as we go along. Of course, we have a group session here for Turkey Hill National, so you want to be in the draft if you're going to get a good lap. And Mitchell Collins was pulling off of that pack right there, and he went right to the top of the board.
Yeah, that's no surprise there. I mean, the best way to get the absolute best lap time in a drafting format is, like, you want to have maybe like 3 or 4 cars ahead of you, and then like the 51 here in this case, he has a few car lengths in front of him, so he can just hold it flat out. He's not going to have to worry about running into those guys in front of him. That's how you get the absolute most speed out of it. And especially if you even have someone behind him, like, I couldn't quite see what number that is. That's a 76 behind him as well. He might actually get the nod here as far as lap time. I wouldn't be surprised if that 76 at least goes top 5 here.
Yeah, he's already top 5. RJ Bishop there. We're going to have to see if he gets a good lap here. I think this next time around he's going to have a fast one. 73, Ian Siegel, and there he goes. Just like you were predicting, RJ Bishop to the top of the board in the number 76 machine. Now, last year in this race, the winner, who was Trey Smith, who eventually went on to win the championship, led 2/3 of the event. So with that in mind, it's probably a good idea to start up front for this race. I don't know how much we're going to see guys from the back moving their way to the front. It's only a 30-lap race tomorrow. Going to be interesting to see how it all goes down. This is the ride that won this race last year, now driven by Declan Wellington Turner. And he is currently in the 7th position here in qualifying. But a lot of the fastest guys so far in this pack right here, including Landon Smith Jr. there in the 5, who just went to the 2nd overall position. And not only that, RJ Bishop improved his time and stayed up top. He is pulling a really good draft of these guys ahead of him, and he is in the best position out of anybody on this racetrack right now.
definitely is. And he is definitely in the best spot, but now his lap might get screwed up because he's catching up to this Pat Bishop looking fairly fast in that number 76 machine. And like you said, Napa, last year the race was led by the same guy for 2/3 of the race. Normally we don't think about track position being so important at Daytona, but if that happens again this year, then we fairly could see track position be fairly important.
Yeah, and the low downforce package we use here in these Turkey Hill National Series cars. Of course, it's interesting. It's going to play out the same way. It's GNS physics. You know, we shouldn't say low downforce, high downforce. It really doesn't mean as much in this game. It is 18 years old. Day we're recording this is the day after NR 2003 turned 18 years old. February 4th, the day the game was released 18 years ago. And here it is, we're still rolling strong with it. How about that? But either way, as I was about to say, GNS physics much different than Cup physics on this track. Especially we saw that last year with how the race played out. And these guys, they move around quite a bit on this track. And it's going to be interesting to see how it all goes down. But RJ Bishop looking very solid right now. It's RJ Bishop, Landon Smith Jr., Declan Wellington Turner in the ride that won this race last year. They're in third. Ian Siegel, Mitchell Collins, the 8 machine of Justin Zidell, 37 machine of Renan Esip, that's Isaac Nichols, Renan Esip's teammate. My apologies there. 24 of Braden Perez, 36 of Ben Grorich, and the 10 of Dennis Stryker. That is the top 10 right now, with 3 minutes remaining here in Fresh from Florida 300 qualifying from Daytona.
I think it's going to be really, really hard for anyone to beat RJ Bishop's lap there, just because, like I said, he had a few car lengths in front of him to a really big pack there. That was at least that's probably at least like 8 cars there. Although now that 44 might actually be in a really good position to get a good lap time.
Yeah, but, Ben Crouch here in the 44 already improved to 10th. He may be able to get a good draft on this pack this time around and possibly have a shot at knocking off RJ Bishop for that top time. He's pulling into this pack right here. Going to be interesting to see what he can do with it. He is going to the high side, though. That may slow him down just a little bit, but we may be able to anticipate Ben Crouch advancing his position so far here in qualifying. At the stripe this time around. There's a 41.461 he had to beat. He's going to beat it! Ben Crouch to the top of the board here in qualifying. And now, that's looking pretty good for your driver, Nathan. Ben Crouch in the number 44 machine. And won, I think, only his second career Napa Fan start. Obviously started in the Homestead race last week, but how about that for your driver, Nathan?
Yeah, well, I mean, I shouldn't be surprised Ben Crouch was very experienced driver over on Andrew's side of the community, and first time in this side, but fairly fast, and a very great qualifying effort for that 44 Advanced Buzz Camaro, and let's see if he can maybe improve this time by.
I don't think he will. Didn't have that pull on the pack like he did that last time around. 66, I think. Yeah, 66 of Declan Wellington Turner improved his time. You know, this is definitely the best pack to be in right now. Some of the fastest guys on the leaderboard in this pack. Ian Siegel, one of them there in 6th. Going to be interesting to see how they all fare in tomorrow's race. Noon Eastern Time, Saturday, February 13th, over on AG Racing. It should be a fun one for the second race of the season in the Turkey Hill National Series. There's Marty Johnson, and Johnson comes into this race the points leader, currently in the, let's see if I can find him here, 18th overall position, so not too bad here in qualifying for Marty. We'll have to see what he can do with that. He started top 10 at Homestead, but obviously the fuel window came into play as we got a new leader here in qualifying. That's the number 37 of Isaac Nichols. And he must have had a pull on this pack as well, because here he is in this large pack that's going around Daytona. And Nichols trying to rebound after what happened to him at Homestead last week. It was not a good run for him after he wrecked out with a couple of the best drivers in this series, and Elijah Gordon and Luke Rainey, but definitely looking for some redemption here tomorrow at Daytona. Top of the board for Isaac Nichols by 2/1000ths of a second. Oh, these guys got to be careful. They're bouncing off the wall. They're not going to improve their time there, but they avoid an accident. Thankfully, no matter what happens in this qualifying session, the times stand. But it's looking like Isaac Nichols is going to lead us to the green flag tomorrow for this race.
Yeah, he must have gotten that big suck up there. Probably also running the bottom side as opposed to the middle, just like the 44 and the 76 were doing. But that's good to see him up there. I will say I saw them also really going 3 wide there. They might also be trying to use this as a practice session to see which line is going to be the fastest come the race. So this is also a little bit of a testing tune here, especially in the final few seconds where some of the lap times are a little more set.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be interesting, and apologies about the phone ringing in the background there, but definitely going to be interesting to see how it all shakes out for these guys who start up front for this race. Time almost out here for qualifying in the Turkey Hill National Series at Daytona. Isaac Nichols, Ben Crouch looking to start on the front row, with the 76 of R.J. Bishop and the 73 of Ian Siegel behind them. Declan Wellington-Turner, Landon Smith Jr., 32 of Dan Park up there, 77 of Priya McShane, 54 of Trey Bartow, and the 27 of Mitchell Collins, the top 10 fastest guys here in qualifying. And with that, I think once the timer's done here, we're going to be done with qualifying here from Daytona. You know what? There might be 30 more seconds after this one. I think they're going to give them 30 more after this. Nope, that is going to be it. And that is how they're going to line up for the Fresh from Florida 300 tomorrow at noon Eastern Time. Isaac Nichols, Ben Crouch on the front row, R.J. Bishop, Ian Siegel, Declan Wellington-Turner, Landon Smith Jr., Dan Park, Priya McShane, Trey Bartow, Mitchell Collins. Take a look at the rest of the results right there. And even though, you know, we're really hyping up those guys who are starting up front, realistically, anyone can win this race. You know, there's probably going to be a big one at some point in tomorrow's event. And with all that in mind, these guys are all going to have an equal shot at winning this race. But I think once we get to the end, if you're up front, you got a good chance. If you're not up front, you might not have a good chance after this race of victory. You're going to see if we have any ties. And even after all that, I don't think anyone tied here in this qualifying session. So that is exactly how they will line up for tomorrow's event. Like I said, noon Eastern Time over on AG Racing, the Fresh from Florida 300 from Daytona. Thank you guys so much for watching. We got a lot of stuff in the NOFSRL tonight, so go ahead and check out everyone else's channels. I know Trey is doing his Clash event tonight in the Mission Barbecue Cup Series, so definitely check that out. And I'm sure there's other stuff going on tonight as well. But thank you guys so much for watching. On behalf of Andrew Miller and Nathan Sablin, we'll all see you guys tomorrow at noon Eastern Time for the Fresh from Florida 300. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys later.